Welcome to Her Path to Success. This program is presented by the Arab American Businesswomen Council, which aims to share the stories of successful Arab American women and concentrates on the development of women's success from her past to her present. My name is Aisha Kasham. I'm the owner and principal of AJK Law Firm and co-host, chair for the Grants Committee at the Arab American Women's Business Council. Today it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Susan Dabaja,
Hello.
associate with Salameh and Farhat Law Firm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Can you please provide us a little bit of information about your background and education?
Sure. First and foremost, I'd like to say I'm a mother and I'm a wife. Family is very important to me. I'm also an attorney, as you stated. I've been an attorney since 2004. I specialize in general practice mainly, but we have I do concentrate on family law and some business law and immigration law as well as bankruptcy.
Can you tell us a little bit about just background in terms of your undergraduate studies and how you became in your role as an attorney?
Sure. Originally, I had thought I was going to go into the medical field. That was my original passion. I obtained my bachelor's in biology. I even started my master's degree in biology. And then at one point in my educational path, I decided I would apply for law school. And it had always been in the back of my mind that the legal field might be an area that I can do well in and that I would enjoy practicing in. And so I thought I might give it a shot, and I applied, and I had gotten accepted, of course. And so that's just the path that I took. But you can say that having a science background has helped in some ways. At least it's given me discipline as far as studies were concerned when I was in law school, because to be a science major, it's fairly difficult as well. I mean, you're dealing with labs and courses and a whole variety of things. And so it gave me a good discipline to take with me going into law school.
And what were some of the key factors that are, I guess, in terms of that decision-making role and going into law school, what were some of the key things that you were interested in at the time in pursuing this?
Well, I think there's several factors, but two that pop into my mind that were very important to me at the time was, number one, as an Arab American woman, I think that our voice is not as heard or is not as prominent as it was back then. I mean, I see it now. There's a change that's going on. Arab American women are having a greater role, or playing a greater role as far as politics, as far as being involved in the community, education, empowering women in general, especially Arab American women. And I thought that was very important. And being an Arab American person by itself was very important to me, to be out there and involved in a career that would allow me to give back to the community, show them what's important to us, show the public what's important to us, that we need our voices heard, we need our concerns being addressed, our interests being addressed as well. I know that a lot of people always say, I think the best thing that you can do is go out and vote, and I think that's very important, but I think what else is important is that not just about voting, but about putting our interests out there. It's easy to find someone, a candidate that you may relate to, and you go ahead and you go vote for them, or a policy that you relate to and you like, and you vote for that. But I think it's even more important to make sure that your concerns and your interests are already placed on that ballot, or that we get candidates that share our interests out into the ballot, and are able to have our voices not only heard, but actually action taken part, have action taken on it. So I thought that was very important. And I think the other part, if I may, was as a mom. At the time I applied for law school, I had one child, and she was it was a girl, Claudia, and she was only about 2 or 3 years old. And I thought, it's very important for me to show her that as a mom, as a wife, that I can still go to school and become something.
Absolutely.
As long as you put your mind to it, you can do it. And it was something that was important for me as a mother.
This is great. This is great. So in terms of you fulfilling that role as a mother, fulfilling that role as a professional. I mean, I know there's a lot at stake and a lot of things that one must balance at the same time. So Considering that, what information or what advice would you give to high school, college, and beyond, professionals in terms of, the various stages in their, not only in school and their education, but also in the professional realm?
I think it's very important to be determined. If you place or set a goal for yourself, you have to work hard to achieve it. And I know there's times where it seems like it's impossible, or you hit a rough patch and you just feel like you want to give up or you can't do it. And that's where a support system really plays a crucial role as far in your path. Because there are times in my life where I felt, I wish I could just be a housewife and sit back and not have these concerns of going to school or working and doing and being involved in the public and the community. But that's where my husband played a very important role for me, as well as my mom and my sisters. I mean, they helped me, of course, with taking care of my children and running my household when need be. But my husband, when he first met me, he knew I was determined. He knew that I wanted to do something with my life. And I'm not belittling being a housewife or a mom. I think that's very important. But I knew that there was something else out there for me. And so when there were times where I felt I can't do this anymore, or it just might be easier to give up, he was there for me to tell me, no, this is your dream, and I want to make sure you go forward. And I really appreciate that. I mean, to have an Arab American husband who also takes a vested interest in my goals was important to me, and so he was my rock during this time period. And so you come upon struggles, but you just have to look at the bigger picture and think you want to achieve it, you want to go forward. Sometimes you may feel, and I want to really stress this because this happened to me, sometimes you really feel that maybe something's going on in your life that you can't go forward. It may go on for some time period. Don't give up just because of that. I think that you may go through this time period and you could let go of things for a while, or take it easy for a while, or sit back and not be as involved as far as getting your career jump started or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that you can't jump back on board when it's time for you again. So I think that's something else that people should be, or women should be aware of, is that you may not go to school maybe for a few years. It doesn't mean that you can't go back to school later. I don't think it's ever too late, and so that's something that I think is important for women to think about, especially moms.
This is excellent information, Susan. And this is something that I think many, whether it's young high school, college students, or even young professionals, a lot of times they're kind of confronted with issues and not knowing how to go about doing it. So a lot of what the AAWBC, one of their main roles that they like to play in is being mentors to these young professionals. And one thing that I wanted to ask you is, did you have mentors growing up? And if you did, were there any particular ones that you are sources of inspiration that you would like to share with us?
I think in different levels of my life, I had different sources of inspiration and different mentors. I know one that pops immediately to me is when I was in law school, we had a law professor, and his name was Patrick Keenan, and he's since passed. But he took a genuine interest in any law student, and I attended University of Detroit Mercy School of Law, and he took a genuine interest in any student he felt that really wanted to achieve or do well in school, and become a little bit more involved and understand the process, and not just being in law school for the sake of becoming an attorney. And I'm sure people assume that if you're an attorney, you're making good money, but it wasn't just about having a career that could provide for you financially, but also of making a difference in our community. And I'm not talking about making a difference on a larger scale. I mean, you don't have to think large scale. I mean, just making a difference in your community is something that should be important to everyone.
Sure.
Another role model, I think, for me is my parents. My parents came here, they immigrated from Lebanon in the early 70s. And my father, really wanted to finish his education. However, they were married young, like most Middle Eastern people at that time.
Sure.
And he wasn't. He took some college courses. I remember that when I was young, but he wasn't able to complete it because he had children to feed and family to provide for. And so for him, I think it was always a dream that his children finish their education and become, whatever career they would like to go into. And so knowing that he had that determination, but that he didn't have the ability to do it, I think it was a big thought in the back of my mind anytime I went to school, or knowing that I have this opportunity and he gave that to us. I didn't think I wanted to mess that up. So he was a big role model in my life as well.
That's excellent. Very good. One thing that I know you actually are currently doing work with the Arab American Women for Obama, and also you're getting involved with the Salome campaign, my understanding. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in this organization and why you chose to follow this?
Sure. Well, with the Sam Salome campaign, Sam Salome is actually the partner in the law firm that I work at, and he's running for 19th District Court Judge in Dearborn. My role as far as in his campaign has been to contribute anywhere it's needed, and that includes things such as working at the poll on election day during the primary election, informing, networking with people, letting my circle of friends and family members that, hey, listen, Sam is running, and this is why he qualifies. This is why he should be elected as judge, and getting the word out, if you will. Additionally, if there's any input that's needed, or he may ask for my input as well as other attorneys' input in our office and the people that are working on his campaign. So a lot of it is just legwork, word of mouth, and whatever I can contribute. And I think it's important that we do that. And it's not only because I work with him. It's important to me because I think he has the credentials, number one, and number two, he's an Arab American voice that I would like to have heard and placed on the bench for us. He shares the values that I share, that I have, and I think in our community, I mean, it's predominantly, or to some extent, there's a large number of Arab Americans. I think it would be nice to have an Arab American on the bench. As far as the Arab American Women for Obama campaign, again, it's similar as far as my involvement. It's about word of mouth, networking with my circle of friends and family and getting the word out. It's about volunteering when there's certain events or certain things that are going on, and just spreading the word, educating people about what's going on and why we feel that either candidate should be voted on the day of election. I think that's why it's important. If you want something done, it's not enough to say, I hope somebody gets it done, or things happen where, the person you would like on the bench or the person you would like as president, they get voted, elected on there. It's important, I think, to get involved. And if you're not involved, I don't think you have as much room to complain about the way things are. If you want to see things change, you need to,
be active in the community, and to the extent that you can, be that voice. And I think this is very important, regardless of which political affiliations you're associated with.
Of course.
But it's very important. And now, in terms of young women that are very interested in politics, or even interested in assisting with elections and these types of things, kind of similar to what you were speaking to earlier. What types of things, I guess, can you tell them that they can actually, do in terms of, that role?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for volunteer work. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity. I think if they know they want to do something like that, it's very easy to find. There's APAC. If you're talking about Arab American women, there's Arab American Political Action Committee, and they're heavily involved as far as getting the word out and getting people out to vote and registering to vote. And that's another thing I forgot to mention as far as the Obama campaign or the Salome campaign. It's very important to get people out to register to vote, because for some people it's been, this may be the first time they're actually considering voting.
Right.
So that's also important. They can also get involved by, if they're in high school, there's certain student groups, or and if they're in college, the same thing goes as well. And I know that if they contact, any campaign of any individual that's out for election, up for elections, it's easy to be able to request information as far as how they can get involved and how they can volunteer. And definitely, if they're interested in working on either campaign, they're more than free to contact me.
Very good. So, I guess I know that you're doing a lot of juggling, many different roles and responsibilities, and going back to the fact, to the role as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for young professionals that are like you, working and at the same time trying to, be active? I know you do work actually with the school that your children are attending.
Yes.
And so you're doing many things, and many say that to the extent that you have more roles and responsibilities, actually you're actually doing more. You're able to accomplish more. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I think the best work comes out of me when I have a lot on my plate. I think it forces me to be organized, which is key as far as accomplishing anything that you want in life. It forces me to set a schedule and set goals for myself and a time frame. And without that, without that added pressure, I think of having so many things on your plate, sometimes you tend to maybe procrastinate or set things aside and say you'll get to it. But it's nice. I like having a lot of things on my plate. I like being involved with my family, with my children. I am a full-time mom, and I'm a full-time attorney. So it's important to me that I figure out the time. Any time I have with my children, with my husband, is precious time for me. So I make sure that I make the most of it. And then anytime I'm at work, I'm going to give it, my 100%. And I think that was your question. I don't know if there was anything else to that question.
So just really briefly, I know that you do work you're on the board, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I was my children attend a private school, and I was on the board for 6.5 years. I actually, my term just ended, so I'm no longer on that board, just a few months ago, but or late last year. So I was on there for about 6 years, and that was very important for me as a mom and as a member of our community. It's a private school, and it's a Muslim-based school. So it was important for me to make sure that the school prevails and succeeds in teaching our children in our community. It was also important for me to make sure that my children attend a school that can make sure that they achieve well in education, do well, teach them to become a well-rounded person, an individual, and to be a member of the community that will give back. So it was a pleasure being on that board, and I'm sure the new board that's on there right now will do a great job as well.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us today, Susan Dabaja.
And I appreciate you having me, and it's always a pleasure to give back to the community and see what I can do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our program for today. Thank you for watching, and look forward to the next episode.
Walsh College. Live, breathe, business.